Hello everyone, and welcome to today's practice. We're going to have a look at our hearts and particularly focus on our heartbeat and building that up in our practice gradually and slowly. And we're going to really be mindful of how it feels when we do that. I've always found it really fascinating that this organ, our heart, that fits in the palm of our hand, weighs less than a pound, can circulate the vast amounts of blood that it does all day, every day for many, many years. And that blood circulation is exactly what nourishes each and every, or helps to nourish each and every cell in our body. And so as we build up in this practice and start to notice the heart rate building up as well, the important thing to remember is you're actually strengthening your heart by doing that, but you have to do it safely. And to make the most impact, you want to go to some sort of a peak slowly. And then, of course, just as important is you really want to be able to rest afterwards. And that minimizes any long-term sort of just wear and tear kind of damage if you have that resting time. So even more important today to take your Shavasana. And so what we'll be doing, we will be, of course, I said focusing on the heartbeat, but we'll be assuming shapes to maximize the heart's potential in the circulation. And we will be moving rhythmically and holding poses as well. Okay, it will be really helpful for you to have a brick, and as usual, don't worry if you don't have it, we can always modify, but this will be for Paragosana or gate pose, and it's always handy to have one. I'd like to ask that you have a little chair. I have a stool. We're going to do Ardha Chandrasana or half moon pose as a balance pose. And some of you may be able to do it without it, but it does really lets us focus on the shape of the pose and the effects on our heart much easier if we have bring the floor a little bit closer. Okay, so today we will start on our backs. So just for a moment, let's sit so we can all start together and open this session together. Hands to the heart. Namaste. And then let's all come to our backs in a reclining position. Now when you get there, let's have just a little bit of movement, just by drawing the knees into the chest. And feeling that, just that flexion in the spine first, and maybe separate the knees just a little bit, and just have a little movement. Again, we're going to build up nice and slowly, but just before we lie here for a little while, you might want to have just a little movement for your body. And once you've done that, maybe had a little stretch, let's go ahead and settle with feet, soles of the feet on the floor, and our hands somewhere close to our heart. Elbows could be on the floor. And just sink into this a bit where you can close your eyes and start to really feel what's going on in your body. Start to feel the long, slow breaths as we do each and every week. And perhaps you can feel your heartbeat. Maybe let's find that if you can't. So a lot of times if you move, particularly the left hand with the fingertips just a little to the left of your breastbone, you can feel the heartbeat. Just see if you can get in touch with that in the beginning. And again, the breath is long and slow. You know what to do. It's a nice 6 count. Inhale and exhale. That lovely 3-dimensional full body breathing. And then just shift a little bit so your elbows are maybe a 45-degree angle away from the body. Hands are still right around the chest. And slowly the next time you inhale, just open up in the arms out to the sides, nice and easy. Full breath on the inhale. And on the exhale, you're just bringing the hands back again towards your chest, towards your heart. Inhaling, opening up. Imagining that heart opening up at the center. And as you exhale, you can close it back with arms or hands back to the heart again. Just a couple more breaths like that. Inhale, feel yourself opening out. And exhale, closing with the hands to the heart. And then the next time you exhale with hands to the heart, on the inhale, reach up really high. Arms are long and straight, and maybe either press palms together or fingertips. The next time you inhale, feel just a little bit of engagement as you do mindfully press those fingertips together, the arms engage. As you exhale, just open out to the sides as wide as you can. And try not to let the hands touch the floor. So they're just hovering. If you need to, you can let the knuckles touch the floor, but it'll be more of a workout for your heart if you let those hands hover. And then as you inhale, you're bringing the arms back up again. Let the fingertips or palms touch the floor. Touch each other, and press a little bit so there's some engagement in the arms. Arms are long and straight. As you exhale, open up all the way, and then let the backs of your hands hover. Feel length from the heart to the fingertip, and as you inhale, reach back up again. Long, slow breaths. Press the palms into each other again. You're engaging the muscles in your arms just a little bit isometrically when you do that. As you exhale, open the arms out. Let the backs of the hands hover off the floor, and one more time as you inhale. Breathe in the arms up. Let the palms of the hands touch each other, and press. And as you exhale, open up again, nice and wide. Feel the length from the heart to either fingertip. And again, backs of the hands are hovering. From this position, the next time you inhale, let the hands or arms move up over your head. And then let the palms of the hands face each other. So notice the movement's even happening in the shoulder joint. So you're moving the arms over the head, and when they get there, you're moving the palms towards each other. As you exhale, right back in the same path, the arms are coming back to the sides. So you might be feeling just a little bit of work now. If you haven't let the backs of your hands touch the floor, as long as all is well, let's continue. You're inhaling, arms over the head. When they get there, let the palms face each other. And then as you exhale, right back to the starting position with the arms out to the sides, the backs of the hands hovering just over the ground. Inhaling, arms over the head. Really reach out nice and long. Feel the length. And then let the palms of the hands face each other. Very nice. And then exhaling. Let the hands and arms come back to that side position. Inhaling one more time. Arms right over the head. And then let the palms face each other. And last time, as you exhale, just allow the arms to come back to the sides. On your inhale, you're letting the arms come right up over the head again. Just allow the hands to touch. And this time, as you exhale, you may need to move your feet just a little closer to your sits bones if they're not in the position to do this. But as you inhale, you're opening out to the sides, and you're raising your hips off the floor.
If you can do this with just letting the shoulders touch the floor and not the hands, space, separate out the fingers, that's great. If you do need to rest the backs of your hands on the floor, feel free to do that. And then again, the movements on the inhale. As you inhale up, you're bringing the arms up over your head and you're lowering your spine to the floor. Next inhale, you're opening the arms out to the sides, dig into your feet and raise the hips off the floor. And feel the stretching from the heart to the arms and from the heart downward towards the pubic bone. And then again on the inhale, you're raising the arms over the head and just lower your spine to the floor. Touch the palms and feel the strength in your arms. Next inhale, you're opening up, digging into the heels, opening up, bringing the hips up. And if you can, again, you're feeling the weight into the shoulders, the backs of your shoulders, but not the backs of your hands. And just let the heart really open up, the chest open up here. Next inhale, one more time, you're raising up. Arms up and lowering the spine to the floor. Allow the palms of the hands to touch. One last time on the inhale, let's raise your hips over the head. Arms coming out to the sides here. And just pause here for just a moment now. You can rest the hands just on the back, the backs of the hands on the floor. And on the next inhale, dig into the heels, open up in the front body just a little bit more. Lovely. And then as you exhale, go ahead and lower the spine and bring the arms to the sides of the body. Very good. And from here, raise the knees towards the chest. Let's all roll over to the side. And come on up into a kneeling position. Now, if your knees don't allow this, it's actually good for your knees if they're able to do it. It really encourages synovial fluid into the knees. If you're not able to do that, come into any seated position of your choice. Put your hands to the heart. Soften your face. And just see what changes happen just since the very beginning of class. If you feel a little more strength in your heartbeat, possibly. Maybe a tiny bit of a faster heart rate. Two more long, slow breaths and really go inward and see what you feel here. And the lower hands to the sides of the body. And go ahead and come into a little bit of a pose of a child for a moment and see if it's difficult for you for the forehead to touch the floor. And if it is, this is another way you can use your brick so that if it's helpful for you, you can put your forehead on the brick and just place your hands right around the lumbar spine. Release completely on your next exhale and just let the neck relax. Let the lumbar spine relax. As you inhale next, you're going to press into the shins, lift up on the knees, and you're going to rise all the way up. Really stretch up here. And as you exhale with control in the core, you're coming right back down to the starting position. Inhaling, lifting up. Really reaching, feeling that extension in the spine. And as you exhale, with control, you're coming back down, letting those shoulders revolve in their full range of motion as you lay the forehead back on the brick or the floor. And then again, rising up. Big, big breath as you inhale and stretch, and exhaling, releasing back down. Forehead towards the floor. And then one more time, rise up. And this time as you exhale, let's just lower the hands and arms to the sides of the body.
And make sure you're in a position where your knees and thighs are no more than probably a hip's distance apart from each other. Inhale, rise the arms up. And as you exhale, just lower the right hand to the thigh and use that for a little support. The next inhale, reach up nice and high with that left arm. And on the exhale, come on over. Remember, you're using this right hand as a little support, and just enjoy a little side bend and open the side of the body right up. As you inhale, you're coming up, coming right back down, and the other arm comes up. As you exhale, come on over to the other side. So we're doing this really slowly, but we're going to do it a few times a little faster now. So as you inhale, it's one motion. Switching arms, reaching up, and as you exhale, you're going over. Have a nice side bend. Slow the breath down if you'd like, but on the inhale, it's one movement. Reaching up nice and high as you conclude that inhale, so you're ready to exhale and have a nice stretch. And just do this a couple more times and start to feel the body begin to open up and just lubricate itself just a little bit. Start to feel the heart keeping pace with what you're doing, or imagine that if you can't feel it. And when you've done an even amount on both sides, on each side rather, the next time you inhale, let's release. Nice tall position in the spine. Go ahead and pick up your brick if you've got one in your right hand. Let's go ahead and raise the arms to shoulder height. With your left leg, we're going to take it and stretch it out to the side, and you want as much as possible those left toes to be pointing forward. Then we're going to bring the brick down, and the same sort of symbol, only it's like a triangle. We're going to come down into that side angle, but instead of bending, you're going to try to hold both sides really steady until you get to the ground. You can bring that brick as low to the ground as you need to really get into this gate pose. So once you're there and you can feel really long on the upper side of the body, for me it's the left side. As you inhale, go ahead and reach that upper arm right over parallel with your ear and look up at your hand. As you exhale, bring that upper arm towards your hip and towards your thigh and look down at your hand on the brick. As you inhale, reach the arm up and you're looking up at that arm. Slowly, as you exhale, you're just glancing down. Your neck is just moving in that one range down towards the hand, the arm. Just feel the heart working as you're just going back and forth between these stretching movements. Make sure you press that little toe side of the left foot onto the floor. It wants to get really lazy. You want at least 5 repetitions of this. Just make sure you continue until it feels like the body is warmed up on that side. And when that happens for you, I want you to reach up again. And this time, leave that upper arm so it's one straight line from the bottom hand to the top hand. And then really get longer. It's like from the heart outwards in all directions. Feel the crown of the head and the little toe side of that left foot getting longer, and from hand to hand getting longer. The arms are really long and engaged. And for support, when you exhale, you might want to feel the waistline draw in, the core drawing in. And I know you've held it for a while. Can you hold it for 3 more long, slow breaths? Remember, you can press out of that hand. You don't want to sink into that shoulder joint. That's actually not good for you. You want it to be a very active pose. So even your bottom arm is active. Now, of course, your heart is working
and the lower arm is probably pooling blood. So if you start moving that upper arm, separating the fingers and making a fist and making the hand and that arm isometrically tighten, contract, and then release, you will actually get the blood flowing there as well. Excellent. And let's go ahead and windmill down. Come on back to a kneeling position. If you'd like to flex your spine a little bit, you can come into a little bit of a child's pose in between sides. Nice long slow breaths. But again, we're warming up, so we don't want to stop for too long. This time you'll have the brick in your left hand if you're using the brick, and inhale, stretch the arms out, find lots of length. This time the right leg goes out to the side, right toes pointing forward. And on an exhale, we'll ease our way to the floor as best we can. Just get that brick nice and comfortable underneath you, however low or high you need it, and then raise the upper arm, which is my right arm. And find that position where you can feel the engagement of that right leg all the way to the little toe side. And when you find it, let's just start breathing and moving, so that as you inhale, you're moving the arm over the head, looking up at it. As you exhale, you're lowering it all the way down to the hip as you look at your hand. Inhale, reaching up over the head. Exhaling, bringing the arm down, looking at your hands. And nice, full, vigorous breaths, and try to move on the breath. So as your movement goes faster, or as your breath goes faster, rather the movement will be faster. So you're trying to match that as much as you can. After about 5 or 6 repetitions, you'll probably want to come to the static pose, reaching the upper hand straight up, away from that lower hand, really feeling grounded and rooted in those right toes, particularly the outside of those right toes, the little toe side. Remember to start moving a little bit, just isometrically contracting and releasing that upper arm. I find it easier to do it by making a fist and then separating my fingers really wide. And then releasing the pose in a nice little windmill. Very good. Lovely. Well done, everybody. And coming back now to a downward facing dog to really stretch ourselves out nicely, flexing the toes out from behind us and coming into the pose. Let the neck relax. Let your arms rotate so that the inner elbow creases, are pointing forward. Do everything you know to do to really maximize your downward facing dog. I really like to move in downward facing dog in such a way that really lets my feet become more flexible. And I do that by just raising the heels, coming onto my tippy toes, bending the knees, coming onto those toes as much as you can. And then you want to roll back slowly, the heels as close to the ground as you can. Arms keep you steady. So do that another time, if you will, raising the heels, coming onto the toes, bending the knees, and then on an exhale, send it all back. Lovely. On your next inhale, keeping the arms nice and strong, just let the knees touch the floor. Look forward with the heart. As you exhale, coming right into the cat position. As you inhale, into the cow position again. As you exhale this time, nice firm abdominal core work as you come back into your downward facing dog. And then inhaling into the plank position, holding yourself really strong and steady here. Allow the knees to touch the floor, and you're still in a nice strong plank pose, even with knees to the floor. And then slowly, slowly, slowly begin to bend the elbows and lower to the floor. If you can get the chest to the floor, great first, but if you can't, just lower to the floor. Very nice. And from here, your elbows can be bent just a little bit. And you're going to, on your, make sure you're nice and rooted through the pelvis. But as you inhale, you're going to traction the floor towards you slightly as you lift your head. But I also want you to lift the legs a little bit and let the floor be a little bit of your leverage as you pull the floor back. You're not pushing down, you're pulling back and then releasing. As you exhale, release all the way. As you inhale, you're pulling the floor towards you, raising the feet a little bit. And as you exhale, you're releasing down. Again, just letting it all go. And then again, inhaling, tractioning the floor back, letting those shoulder blades come closer together, chest opens as your legs raise up. Now this might be enough. If you don't feel challenged enough, what you'll want to do is bring the arms back to the sides. And as you inhale, you want to reach the arms back, the legs back, and then slowly, with the legs still raised, just bring the arms forward, either to the ears or with elbows bent or stretched out. So it's much more challenging that way. And you choose which is your level today. So you're either have elbows bent and you're doing just a few more repetitions of just bringing the floor towards you isometrically and raising the legs. Or you're inhaling arms and legs back and slowly bringing the arms a little more forward before you release. And just continue maybe another repetition. And slowly we're going to lift ourselves up. Flex our toes under our hands are just a little forward of our shoulders so we can come back into downward facing dog. The best downward facing dog you can manage, and let your head and neck be really relaxed here. Very good. And from this downward facing dog, we're all going to make our way to standing. So just take your time with this. We'll all meet in standing from here. So as you come to standing, any little stretch you need is absolutely fine. But we're all coming into Tadasana from here. And in your Tadasana, once you get there, if you'll just put both hands right over your heart, right over your chest. The idea is to try to feel your heartbeat as if you can. But it's also just to hold that area, close your eyes, and just remain in with all the components of mountain pose. Just have a few long, slow breaths. Just see what's going on inside. Maybe you don't feel any difference in your heartbeat. Maybe it feels faster. Maybe it just feels like a general sense of warming around the front of the body. Whatever, just note what you're feeling. Notice what you're feeling. Bringing the arms to the sides of the body. And as you inhale, we're reaching the arms straight up, and you're really feeling that extension, pressing into the feet and separating the fingers out at the top of that inhale. And as you exhale, you're bending the knees, diving for the floor with control. Knees are bent. Remember, as your fingertips touch the floor, you can inhale and straighten the knees just as much as you're able to do. As you send the thighs back slightly, let your heart and gaze come forward. As you exhale, you're bending the knees and sweeping all the way back up again. Let's go right back down as you exhale with control. Knees bent, you're swan diving to the floor. Let your head and neck relax for that moment when you reach the as low as you can. And then when you inhale, weight to the heels, really weight into the feet in a very rooted way as you straighten the legs as much as your body can and look forward. Nice, slow, thorough breaths, exhaling, bending the knees, feeling the core engage as you sweep up on the inhale. Exhaling, going over again. Just perfect this extended mountain and Uttanasana sequence as best you can. Thorough movements. And you can slow the breath down if it's helpful, but you're moving on the breath. Inhaling, sweeping up. And exhaling, swan diving down. Remember, it's fine on the inhale. Once you're down, you're just stretching a little bit. The front of the body, heart rises, gaze rises, and the knees straighten. And then as you exhale, you're coming back to really core engagement as the knees bend. So you're ready to inhale and come up. So you want to give that at least 5 repetitions. When you're ready to exit that sequence, just bring hands to the heart in the namaste position. And just pause for a moment. Long, slow breaths. And again, go inward. What is going on? How do you feel? And then from here, lower the arms to the sides of the body. As you inhale next, you're bringing the arms out to shoulder height and just coming up onto the balls of the feet. As you exhale, you're coming into the chair pose with arms over the head, weight more into the heels. Really feel that length, nice and slow, just like you did in the Uttanasana and extended mountain series. Nice and slow. As you inhale, arms back to the side position and your heels are elevated off the floor. As you exhale, you're coming into the chair pose. And take the breath you need to really perfect that chair pose. So you're long in the front of the body. Weight is really centered into your heels. You feel strong in the legs. As you inhale, arms back to the, shoulder height as you raise the heels off the floor. Exhaling into the chair position. That's the sequence, just like that. A couple times more on your own. Remember to inhale, open up to the side and elevate your heels. And you're exhaling into the best chair pose your body can allow. After about 5 repetitions of that, coming back to the arms at shoulder height, feet, heels slightly elevated. On your next inhale, can you raise your arms over your head and come right up onto the tippy toes as best you can? Just hold that for a breath. And then release when you need to, heels to the floor, arms to the sides of the body. Maybe a little shoulder rolling. And just notice the rate of your heart. Just raising your arms, by the way, over your head can increase the work in your heart. So even just an extended mountain can do that at times. So from here, if you will, make sure if you've got a chair or a stool, that you put that to the right side of your mat towards the front. If you don't have that, you may have a little bit more trouble doing Ardha Chandrasana. You can always use a brick, although the chair will make it much easier. Okay, so from here, come into the wide-legged stance. Breathe the arms up. Rotate the front toes out and the back toes inward just a little bit. And just sink into a warrior two, nice and easy, so you can find the right position for yourself, for your feet, and see how that is. And from this warrior two, just try a little proud warrior, dancing warrior, and then as you're inhaling, reaching up, and the back hand either touches the leg or elbow bends, and you put the back of the hand onto your lumbar spine. As you exhale, you're going to straighten the leg and windmill the arms and attempt to come into a bit of a triangle pose, and bringing the arm all the way over. So it's quite a lot of area you're covering. So just as a reminder, as you're coming out, the knees bending, you're coming all the way into a dancing warrior. And as you exhale, you're windmilling the arms and coming to a triangle variation. Now, if you're doing that and it's just too much for your spine to go to those two extremes, what I want you to do is you're going to stay basically with the bent knee and just come into an extended side angle instead of the triangle. Okay, so choose your level. Inhaling into proud warrior and slowly with control exhaling into a variation of triangle pose. Or you're doing proud warrior and extended side angle with knee bent. Okay, just one more time, everybody. Really go into this deeply with your awareness and notice what's happening in the spine, in your heart, and all of the musculature of your body. Just feel where it's crying out to you for a little bit of attention. And then pausing as you're ready to exit, just in your warrior two for a moment. Of course, if your stool is in the right position, you can just go right into the Ardha Chandrasana. If it's not, feel free to just to move around a little bit. What you're trying to do is put the hand on the chair or on the stool, and you're going to lift the back leg back and open up as much as you can. And you really want to actively lift the back leg, feel the back gluteal muscle working. You're feeling your hand pressing down onto the chair and feeling the upper hand rise up and separating those fingers, and then maybe making a fist. And with your awareness spread all over the body, it's easy for that back leg to get lazy, but you're going to keep it lifted up. And you're going to try to enhance the balance aspect just by bringing the side, as if you're in one plane. The heart comes forward, the front of your body comes forward into that side position as much as you're able to do. And just notice how much more challenging it gets for your heart rate as you hold this. And when you've had enough, you just get to ease out of the pose as you'd like to. Coming back to the long aspect of your mat. And then we're going to switch the chair to the left side, a little bit more to the front. And let's do the same thing on the second side. So widening the stance, bringing the arms up, rotating, pivoting those left toes out and the right toes in, and just sinking into a warrior two, so you know exactly where to place your feet, how low to sink. Just feel that out a little bit. When you're ready to begin the sequence, you're just going to inhale into proud warrior and just feel that lovely stretch down on the left side of the body. And as you exhale, you're transitioning slowly into a triangle pose. So it's a lot of ground to cover. It's actually better to windmill the arms back to the dancing warrior. And remember, you've always got the option of just coming in to the extended warrior instead of a lower and a lot more challenge to the spine in the triangle pose. So just feel your way through this, just maybe another 3 sequences. Nice and quietly going inward and just feeling what's happening in your body. Perfecting the poses as much as you can. And again, you want 5, maybe even 6 repetitions. Make sure it feels really good. Your spine feels really warmed up. The heart rate is pumping, and you exit through warrior 2. And, oops, I've got the stool in the wrong place. Sorry, I guided you wrong through that. But just when you're ready, after you exit out of warrior 2, we're going to find Ardha Chandrasana. Sometimes it's nice just to take your hand on the upper hip point and just guide the leg up and open. But I'll let you find your own way to come into this. If you find yourself struggling with the balance, you might just need to move the foundation leg a little bit and find the way that really works, where you can hold this for several breaths. You can look, put your gaze wherever feels right for you. Just feel the strength required in this pose. You want to feel like you're coming out of the shoulder joint though. Remember, you want to press and don't collapse into that lower shoulder joint. It's really important that you use your own muscles and strength to hold this pose. And you want to feel the back leg, or the upper leg rather, really getting long and very active. You feel it all the way into the gluteal muscle. When you feel ready to come out or complete with this, just slowly segue out. And come back to your mountain pose from there. Just have a really simple breathing vinyasa from here. So there's several to choose from. If you want to do it the way I'm doing it, I'm putting hands to the heart. And on an exhale, lowering the hands. Inhaling all the way up. And exhaling down with hands back to the heart. But you can do any vinyasa you'd like, as long as you remember you want to keep the components of mountain pose in the entire time you're doing this. And you want to list 3 or 4 breaths just like that. Going inward, seeing how you're feeling. And then opening the eyes, and let's all come back to the floor again. So we're coming back down to the floor, and let's just all come into an extended child's position first. Nice wide knees. And just relax down for just a moment. You can have elbows to the floor if that's better for you just now. Or you might want to stretch the arms instead. and let that go into the spine. So your choice, what feels best to you right now. Nice, long, slow breaths, and feel the effect in your low back. So that's what you really want to release right now, is your low back as best you can. And then we're just gonna move just a little bit. Maybe the knees a little closer together. Hips are gonna stay high now. I want you to reach the arms out as best you can. Maybe forehead can even touch the floor. If not, you can use a brick. What I want you to do is be able to stretch the arms, and it feels as though your heart is just trying to come a little closer to the floor. You might feel quite a stretch in the upper arms, underneath your armpits. And just allow this stretch for 3 to 5 breaths. Really long, slow breaths. If you're breathing fast, you might need to stay for a few more breaths. And slowly take the weight into your arms. Come on back up. And in your kneeling position, put your hands to the heart. Let your neck stay nice and long. Let your breath start to get even longer and slower. And just see, how's your heart feeling? How are you feeling in general? And slowly we're all now going to come to the floor in face up position on the floor. So when you first get there, just stretch the right leg out and bring the left knee in towards the chest. And really feel that that right leg is really extended. And slowly as you exhale, bring the left thigh a little closer in towards the body. Just have a couple more pulses of breath just like that. Make sure the breath is long and slow. This is how you help the heart rate to really slow down. But of course it affects your nervous system as well. It's all linked together. So you want that rest and restore part of your nervous system to kick in. Change the legs. Really extend out through the left now and just roll the right thigh closer in towards the body every time you exhale. And then gather up both knees close in towards the body. And the same thing with both legs, just on the exhale, bringing both thighs closer in, and letting them come away as you inhale. Nice wide position with the groins and the thighs, and just rock a little bit side to side. What you're trying to be sure of is that there's no niggles in your back. Oh, that feels really good. And then bring the legs nice and close together. Feet are still off the floor. Bring your arms to the shoulder height position, and we're just going to come into a little bit of a twist here. So it's on the exhale, as if your knees and thighs are glued together. You're going to roll onto the left side of your hip, left side of your thigh, and come on over. And just allow yourself to look to the right as much as you can now. And you might want to wiggle around just a little bit. I like to try to create as much space as I can in my spine in these twists. Just let yourself have 3 to 5 long, slow breaths. As much as you can, you want to try to relax and release the upper part of your body, so you're not holding the shoulders or the neck in any tense way. You're just really letting that go. And when you're ready to exit, you're just going to roll the upper leg off first, and then the lower follows. And maybe just a little movement on back and forth when you come to center, just to reset the spine. And let's do the same pose second side now. So as you're ready, you can just roll over legs to the right, nice and close together. And then, of course, your left shoulder has probably become a little airborne. So you just, as best you can, try to settle that back to the floor. And it may never come to the floor completely. Try to create some length right here in the spine, and I like to maybe wiggle around and let that happen first before I settle completely. And of course, so you'll feel the torque of that twist, so you just come right up to the edge and let your breath be long and slow. When you're ready, upper leg rolls off first, then the lower. A little bit of movement at center. Let's all come into a happy baby just to conclude the more active part of the practice. So remember, it's fine just to clasp around the outsides of your ankles. That's best for most people. Knees are bent, and you just pull traction down as if you're trying to get your knees closer towards the ground. Feet are flexed. And just feel that spaciousness in your low back. It feels like you're trying to get the low back broader in this position. And let your breath really be slow here. And that's just notice in this happy baby pose, if you can, notice what's going on with your heart rate and your heartbeat. And any little movement you would like, or any final little pose, up to you right now. Just make sure you're going to be as comfortable as you can for the final relaxation pose. And so remember your Shavasana and the cooling down poses that we're already doing. And your Shavasana is really important today. Well, it's always important, but particularly important today. So just place yourself in Shavasana as you're ready. And give yourself that mindful moment where you really feel the body surrendering its body weight to the floor. And just enjoy that sense of release and heaviness. You can feel the back of your head against the floor, and of course the backs of your shoulders and your arms. Feel your mid-back on the floor and your hips, and all the places in your legs that are touching the floor. And just for a few breaths, focus on letting the exhales be a little bit longer than your inhales. I'll let you do that on your own, but just to begin, it feels a little bit like the inhale is a 4 count, so you're inhaling 1, 2, 3, 4, and you're exhaling 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So that's about the length of it, if you can manage that. Just a few breaths just like that, where the exhales are longer than your inhales. And there'll probably come a time where you want to let go completely of controlling your breath. And so when that happens, just go ahead and do that. Surrender completely and just allow the breath to be as it wants to be. And so once you've done that, a way to go a little deeper in your relaxation is always just to observe the breath with just with your awareness, without trying to change it. So just start to notice that as it becomes, as the inhale begins, and then a little pause maybe after your inhale, and then it just naturally becomes the exhale. And then again, the natural little pause after your exhale. So just continue watching and observing your own breathing pattern just like that. And you may come to a point where you just really want to touch in to the interval after you exhale. And for most of us, that little pause after the exhale has become longer, and it feels so relaxing to just allow that total stillness in the body and be aware of it. And so if you're closing out with me today, you've come into a seated position. It's always lovely to keep your eyes closed for a few breaths when you first come to seated. And it's just so you can allow that sort of gradual focus and the light coming in a little more slowly. Then with hands to the heart. Namaste. Thank you. And I'll see you next time.